I do actually. I would just say I think one good life lesson this from health coaching is when you choose to become accountable, you increase the chances you will become happy in life. And by being accountable, just sticking to your goals, setting them, accomplishing them. And the happiest people I see aren't the richest. They're actually the ones that get their stuff done.
This is the Buffalo Community Podcast, all about the greatest small town in the USA, the people in it, and how it all works together. Here are your hosts, Tyler Reiss and Mark Benzer.
Okay, our guests today are husband and wife, doctors of chiropractic care, soon to be certified acupuncturists, hockey parents, Ironman competitor, family of 7, local social media influencers, the owner of Adjust to Health Chiropractic, Doctors Warren and Heidi Zook. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. Our pleasure. Is there anything we missed in that short little mini bio?
No, I think you covered it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Interview done. Thanks for coming
all
in.
right, sounds good.
Damn, nailed it.
Nailed it. All right.
Nailed it.
That's good.
Well, let's kind of go back. When did you start Adjust to Health Chiropractic?
2001.
2001. Okay. And you're located downtown Buffalo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Right off of 2nd Street.
Yes.
Right behind that
behind.
downtown Wine and Spirits.
Yep. I didn't want to say liquor store, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that's all right.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true. Okay, so what did you do before chiropractic care?
Went to a lot of school.
That-
I went to school at St. Cloud State for my undergrad, and
Sure.
really the only job I had before chiropractic was in the service industry. I worked as a waitress and then a banquet server, and worked my way through school that way.
Okay.
But I started chiropractic right out of chiropractic college.
Okay. How about you?
I grew up in Canada, so I had numerous different jobs. Pea picker, in a field, newspaper person delivering, and then wanted to own a hot dog restaurant, at age 16. So it was either own a hot dog restaurant or become a chiropractor.
Right.
Thankfully chose to become a
He worked
chiropractor.
in a hot dog restaurant, so he cuts all the onions at our house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then 2 other jobs. Got to do the ground testing in Canada for the summer job in college. We put at transformer poles the ground rods in, and then finally did steel mill shutdown. My dad worked at a steel mill, so I got to do all the cleanup of the steel mill, 16-hour days.
You got to.
Well, let's just say it paid well, but you realize why you go get an education too, though, because you're grimy after those 16 hours, and then you're just going home to sleep, and then you're coming back.
Right.
So it makes you appreciate the people who got to go out there and earn it, in factory or steel mills.
Sure.
So
Sure. And you're originally from
Litchfield,
Litchfield. Okay.
Minnesota.
Yeah. And so you guys met then
at chiropractic college.
at chiropractic college.
Yeah. And now my hometown in Selkirk, Manitoba is like a renowned buffalo location because all these guys from Buffalo go ice fishing in Selkirk, Manitoba, and they come and they catch those big fish like that.
Yeah.
So they all stay at the hotel in my hometown in Canada now. So the coolest part,
didn't know that.
So the first time a group of Canadian or American guys went there, I called the hotel and we put 2 bottles of beer in the hotel room waiting for the guys.
Perfect.
Welcome to Selkirk, Manitoba. Compliments WZ. So
That's
Sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
deal.
That's I didn't hear that. I know a lot of those guys that go up there. Are you talking about the low T's? Those
the
guys?
low T's, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some of our listeners might know who those are, but I didn't hear that. That's an awesome.
I think
cool
they just
little,
got back.
Yeah, I
from
think
that
they're
trip
their
up there.
second time this
Yeah.
year.
I think
Some
there's
of them-
3 to 4 separate trips a year there now, So
one of these days I want to go
Yeah.
out there. But that's a cool little story. Thanks for sharing that. That kind of goes into that influencer type or being like a community member. I mean, that's a cool little story that they'll probably remember. And when they came back here, did they know who WZ is right away?
Hopefully. I got a couple texts. I was coaching with Coach Derek Rosso at the time.
Yep.
So then he right away texted, "Hey, thanks for the beer."
Oh,
so
nice.
then once one guy knows, then the rest probably
Sure. Right.
So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. We're going to kind of cruise right up through chiropractic care on maybe what are some challenges, what are some things that you wish people knew about chiropractic care that, or maybe is a misconception, in general.
I think the biggest misconception in chiropractic care is that you have to be in pain to seek out care. I see a lot of kids, and I would say 90% of the kids that I see, it's more on a wellness basis. So they're coming in because the parents are sick of the kids being sick all the time. And so we get them coming in like once a month, and they stay well, as opposed to getting out of trouble when you're in it.
Yeah. Okay. That probably would have been a surprise. You'd think if my back kind of hurts on there versus just kind of general maintenance.
And we get some of that. I mean, some people will bring their kids in, and they'll start care, and then like other kids in the school start getting sick, and they're like, "Man, my kid's not getting sick. Like, what's up?" I'm like,
And
their spine's in a line,
right? And I think people do so much associate seeing a doctor with having some sort of ailment.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and you know more than me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's a battle that chiropractors all over are trying to fight in terms of promoting wellness instead of treating sickness.
Right. And I think the medical community across the board is trying to fight that. I even think the medical community is trying to be more preventative and let's get people in, as well as chiropractors.
And that's where I think you got to compliment dentists as a whole. Dentists have like mastered the whole wellness thing, because you guys all know you go on twice a year to the dentist, you get your wellness checkup, and you're not necessarily in pain. But I think that's the healthcare platform that a lot of people strive to get towards, though,
Sure.
So, and my one probably misconception in chiropractic would be when a person gets like in a car accident, most people don't even know this, but like you literally get covered by your PI insurance to get to pre-accident status, like with 0 pennies out of pocket. So like you get adjustments and or massage until you get to pre-accident status. A lot of people think, oh, it's going to cost me a ton. Well, it's actually free. It'd be invoiced through your car accident insurance company. So a lot of patients are like, I can't believe this is free. And it's like, well, it's not free, but we're invoicing your car accident insurance company.
Yeah, right.
So not health insurance, it's your car accident.
If they're in a car accident,
Auto insurance.
Auto insurance.
In the case of a car accident.
And I would say that's probably especially in that window of like 1 to, like 3 months after the accident,
Sure.
After that, we have a really good track record for discharging patients, and a lot of auto carriers want them to come to us because of our good track record for discharging right away,
You mentioned massage therapy. That's another kind of avenue inside Adjust Health, is not just chiropractic care, it is massage therapy as well.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the two?
So massage therapy is generally working on muscles. And so they're not, so what chiropractors do is we take a look at your spine. And if there's segments in your spine, the vertebra, if any of those vertebrae are out of alignment, that can affect the nerve flow or how your brain is talking to like your hand. And so that's what we take a look at more. We do some muscle work also, because when those vertebrae are out of alignment, that can definitely affect the muscle tone. It can cause some pain in muscles, as well as if you injure a muscle, that can also cause a vertebra to come out of alignment. Where we find the massage therapists come in is we just simply don't have the time to really take the time and work on it. And so when we have patients that really have had some muscle damage, then we'll have the massage therapist take them.
Okay.
And it's a really good adjunct therapy to work with us.
So I'll just be open-ended. Like for instance, for myself, I do about a once every 2 to 4 week adjustment. And then I do a massage. Honestly, if I'm pretty time stressed and like really tight in the shoulders from doing a bunch of computer work, I'll do a massage every, I would say, 2 weeks if high demand, and then I'll stretch it out to 6 weeks if it's not bad.
Okay.
But I'm a firm believer you got to use the services you're recommending all the time. So that's kind of my frequency is, I would say 1 to 3 weeks for adjustment, and then 2 to 6 weeks for massage. And personally, that kind of keeps me in good sporting shape. And I like to play racquetball and do triathlon, so keeps me performing, at a normal rate there, So
yeah. I'm glad you mentioned the triathlon because I understand you've done a few Ironman competitions.
Just one.
Just one. Okay.
Oh, I've only let him do the one.
Yeah.
Just
you want to stay happily married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like there's a nice story behind it.
Yeah. So I just being open-ended, when I was, about 18 to 20, goal was always to do an Ironman. But, college and life and set up an office kind of, gets in the way. And so long story short, finally just decided there's this maybe small window in life where parents' health is okay and you can do it. So in 2015, decided that was the year, So mini funny story is my knee was having issues. So I was like, I wonder if I can actually run a marathon. So without training, just on Labor Day weekend of 2014, because I was having some recurring issues, I was like, okay, I'm going to use a heel lift. I'm going to try and run a marathon. So that morning, without telling her, I went and ran a marathon, out to Deer Lake Orchard and back.
I wake up, he's gone. I'm getting ready to go to church. Well, was he abducted?
Right.
So I get the kids ready, and we're leaving to go to church, and here he is hobbling down the sidewalk.
Yeah.
We're like, where have you been?
So if you're going to do a marathon on the spot without training for it, don't do the Deer Lake Orchard hill. That'll kill you.
That's a
By
tough
the way.
one. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Well, that too. Yeah.
But just realized after that marathon, the knee was okay. And then sure enough, lo and behold, signed up, followed a training plan. And it was like having a sabbatical from life, because you have to train like 10 to 15 hours a week to do it competently.
Sure.
And thanks, Heidi, for having the kids and yourself there. It was a beautiful setting, though. Rocky Mountains, a 25% no complete rate, because it was like 7,000 foot vertical biking during the race. There was forest fires going on all around us.
Oh, man.
So it was a 25% no complete rate, because you could barely breathe with all the smoke around,
Wow.
So it felt extra savory in crossing that finish line,
Sure.
And did like in the 12-hour range for Ironman, which in the mountains of Canada with forest fires around, it's respectable,
Wow.
Absolutely.
So 76,000 steps on the watch that day, by the way. Still the record. I haven't beat 76,000 yet. So,
I'm like looking at mine. Like, I've been pretty immobile today.
Right.
But gosh, you woke up and said, well, I'm just going to run a marathon.
Well, I'm just a practical person. So I was just kind of like, if I couldn't handle a marathon, which I've never done before, by the way. Then I figured, how can you sign up for an Ironman without knowing,
Yeah.
Just went a little bit too spontaneous there, though,
Sure.
So
It happens.
some people find that story pretty funny overall. So I don't know why.
I would say so.
Yeah. I've never.
I know what you guys are doing Sunday morning.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Going to church. Oh, man.
That's great.
Then what I didn't tell you guys, I couldn't move for like 4 days afterwards.
Yeah.
I was like cement, because I realized you can't do this without training for it.
Yeah.
So like literally she got mad at me, because like, now you can't help for Labor Day weekend, so,
Well played, Warren. Well played.
I like literally don't do that, by the way. You got to train for it, So then I realized.
And most people would.
Yeah, I know. But you realize, when it comes to like a real marathon, you got to be putting in probably, I would say 6 to 10 hours a week. Otherwise you will be
I did the Twin Cities Marathon in 2014.
And how many hours did you prep?
I undertrained. I think they run it in August.
Yeah.
Or October. And I just basically didn't run. I was so done with running. August, I didn't run. And then September, I debated about not even going, but then I had the peer pressure of friends going, if you show up, you'll finish. And I finished 5 hours and 55 minutes. With 5 minutes.
Finished.
5 minutes to spare.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I can't imagine finishing over 6 hours and then having them go, well, good job, but you're not recognized
Everybody's
as
gone.
a finish.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So,
Just for the record, I have not run. I don't plan on running.
I haven't either, and I really don't. No.
It's a bucket list thing.
Yeah.
My friends started doing it. Anyway,
I
ready?
put that on a different list.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Let's see. What have we touched on? Okay. So, Warren, you are very active in social media. Your business is very active in social media. What, I guess, what is it that draws you to that?
Well, just respectfully speaking, I think if old days, it used to be, yellow pages. Nowadays, some people think, it's website. Honestly, now, I think everything now is people are on their phone all the time. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have a relevant content on one of the platforms, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, you become irrelevant. Mm-hmm. So I think, respectfully speaking to all business owners, I think you should put an hour a day into feeding all social media platforms. That's just my personal opinion. And we track where all of our, customers come from.
Yep.
Like, I will go so high to say that we're like, aside from referral, which is probably like 80, 85%.
Internal referral.
Internal referral. I would say nowadays, probably like literally of the random
The
phone
rest
calls.
of it is
The rest is all social media related,
LinkedIn.
So
Is that through, and I don't mean to get too like deep diving on the business side of things, but I mean, is that through just being diligent about, hey, how'd you get in touch with us today, or what, just kind of having that?
On the intake forms for patients, we always track like how did you hear about us, and even taking it 2 or 3 levels deeper. Because just from a business perspective, I think as a business, you always want to fuel what kind of supports you. So like, let's say if we've sponsored like, a high school calendar and that brought in like 6 to 10 people, guess what? We're going to responsor that calendar. It's a no-brainer then,
Yeah.
Because you always want to do your donation sponsorships, but the things that truly, do work out, you want to responsor all the time then too, So, yeah.
I've heard it described as a pie of, each individual section of that pie is your whole marketing plan, but it might not be easy to track exactly what each piece of that pie is doing, but the whole thing works.
Yeah.
And it's always a tricky balance.
And things have changed so much. Like we used to be, and we still are out in the community doing things. But I would say that, the most of our new patients would come from, just that like face to face. And we're finding people don't want to talk face to face as much anymore. Like we're still out at the county fair and we still are, have booths places, but just how people communicate with each other has shifted, and it's more on those social media platforms.
And I'll just politely say, like, I think a 20 to 60 second blip does way more than like a 25-minute seminar, to a group of 20 people. Because it's just like people want those little short tidbits now, like why sitting on your wallet will throw off your low back. 20 to 60 seconds on that. So you put your wallet in your front pocket so that's not shifting your pelvis,
Right.
And so.
Or I think even too, say for example, you light a Twinkie on fire in your parking lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I don't even think you have to be, he did that.
Yeah.
That wasn't as random as maybe you thought.
I was like,
How many Twinkies have
Mark,
you
let's
eaten
stay on
since
task.
then?
So no. I think just as much as they want to know that you're competent and believe in your product, they just want to know you, the person.
Yeah.
And I think that's as important or more important than in my example telling people how much I know about insurance. They just don't care how much. They just want to know that.
They want to know you.
They want to know you.
I truly believe people in the service industry buy your personality first. They buy your service second. So if you feel happy with who you are, selling your personality first is more important than selling your service. But I'm not saying compromise your service. I'm just saying sell your personality first, One saying I always love, success is not owned. Success is rented. And the rent is due every
day.
You got it. Yeah. And you can even go out to every hour if you want.
Right.
But the point being is you got to be like always on top of it. Every single day you get refocused. And the second you think you own it, you get knocked off the mountain,
Yeah. That's great. I mean, that's like that's your 20-second clip right there. And we might put that right at the beginning of the video because that's what people will see first. I really like that one.
Yeah.
I want to kind of comment on your engagement. It had nothing to do with business. It was the hockey team. You were giving out. I appreciated the updates. It was every minute. It was Buffalo's up 4-2. Buffalo's up 4-3. Oh, we're in overtime right now. I appreciated that, and I think based on how many people were engaged in there, I think it's a really cool. Not a service because I think you would have done it regardless if you're a business owner anyway, especially being from Canada.
Yeah.
That's the only hockey joke I'm going to make.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah. But I appreciated that, and I think people notice that stuff. They know who you are, with hockey, and you're involved in a lot of child activities as well, which kind of leads me to my next question. Being out in the community and volunteerism and being a doctor and doing your seminars, how do you keep it balanced?
Oh, sometimes you have to know when to dial back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I think it changes as life changes, as, the phase of life you're in, when the kids are little. I volunteered a lot more, especially at school. And then when they were all in school, then I kind of started pulling away from that and working, coming into the office a little bit more. And it needs to be where you're needed the most.
Sure.
And so really kind of just analyzing and taking a step back and saying, okay, what's going to benefit my family? What's going to benefit the community? Where do I need to be right now? And right now I need to be more in the office because I can do the best for other people there now.
Yeah.
You know, because I can focus in on that.
Yep, and I can see with a lot of volunteers that you see around town, it's kind of a slippery slope, you know, when you do dive into it, because it's always expected,
Yep.
and it is a tough decision to pull away from it, because it doesn't mean you care less about that.
Yeah.
It just means there's only so many hours in a day.
Yeah.
And
And I'm really
Thank you.
excited. Like now we're starting the high school thing over again. And, you know, there's opportunities there. Like
Sure.
my son, he thinks he's going to go out for tennis this year. So he's never like really formally played tennis. But I've already been asked by another mom, hey, I really like doing the spaghetti dinners. Do you want to do these? And I'm like, yeah, I haven't done stuff like this in a while. You know, when Michael and Taylor were in football, we used to, you know, some moms, like probably a group of 10 of us, would cook these big meals every Friday night before their game. And now I haven't done that in a while. So now that's kind of coming full circle. And now we have someone else that's starting that. And so, yeah, totally on board with that instead of maybe playground duty.
Right.
You know, it's the nowhere.
Do you have a couple of those events where it's just like you just put it in ink every year that you're going to be some of your favorite volunteer opportunities that just every year you know you're going to be a part of?
Well, for the last probably, I'd say 15 years, I've been helping out with the bands during the parade, during Buffalo Days. And so this will be the first year that I'm not. And a lot of that is because now the parade goes by our office. And you know, for the last few years, I've kind of wanted to be there.
Sure.
You know, and but I really enjoyed, I was in marching band in high school, and Michael and Taylor, our older twins, were in marching band. And so that was really fun to be part of that. But, you know, as seasons change, you know, so that one, I'll miss that this year. And that's been a fun thing that I've done with the chamber.
Litchfield had a pretty tremendous marching band program, didn't they? Yeah, that's something I did know on there. I mean,
She
was
was
like,
in there, too.
like world
Yeah.
class. Was it John Carlson? Was that no?
So he's a coach. It was Keith Johnson.
Keith Johnson. That's
Yeah.
right.
John
That's right.
Carlson's the
He's the
Litchfield football player.
Yeah, that's right. There's
Yeah.
some famous people from Litchfield.
You know so much about marching bands.
It was
Were you
more
in
about
marching
You're kind of an expert.
it was more about Litchfield. on that. I knew that more about
You're a
Litchfield.
Litchfield
there.
enthusiast.
Yeah, but I didn't know you're from Litchfield, so
Yeah.
that's something I learned today. Cool.
And you guys, when you ask about balance, I think our philosophy as a married couple and also business owners is we try and max it at 60 hours a work week between the two of us. So then that way she'll spend more time at home if I'm heavy at the office that week. Like for instance, I got inquired from an industrial company to do health coaching for all their employees. You know, 160 employees, 20 minutes per employee. So if you could imagine, it takes about 6 to 7 weeks to get through on top of being a chiropractor. So I'll be honest with you, sometimes you are imbalanced though. Like for 6 weeks, we're talking 70-hour work weeks.
Yeah.
So guess who had to be at home more? So I think we strategically look like, okay, so Warren's going to be being a chiropractor for 45 hours a week, health coaching for 21 hours a week. I probably can't be at the office too much, you know?
Yeah.
So we just will make our schedules work, you know? And then on top of that, we just hired our first full-time salaried associate now too.
Okay.
So we're kind of like, okay, the candle's burning at both ends, 70-hour work weeks, time to bring on the new guy. So we hired a new graduate, and he's just in his first 10 days with us right now.
Awesome.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's good. Important. What I'm hearing there is that communication and actually having a plan of going forth, because, well, you're taking a tremendous opportunity there, but you need to make it work. So congrats on the new associate as well.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Is the health coaching something that you're looking to grow in? Or I mean, probably a lot of people don't know that's
So
something you do.
kind of fell into it because they decided, ironically, the Ironman company called and said, hey, we want you to share how you're being healthy with our company of, you know, X amount of employees. I was like, sure, let's give it a shot. So I've been there 3 years now. Their group health plan insurance at the company went from going up 12% a year. And after I was there for 1 year, it went up to only 5.8% rise. After 2 years of being there, it went up to only a 1.8% rise. So we're saving that company out tens of thousands of dollars. We're not charging that to them. but what I'm saying though is it kind of has opened Pandora's box. Like on top of being a chiro, this might be a separate virtual service I can do, because I've even coached people now in Nebraska virtually through FaceTime. and they're getting the same results in that plant as they are in the one here in the West Metro now too. So politely spoken, it works, and I think it's a lot better coming from a doc than it is coming from a fellow employee. Like, hey, Heidi, I think you got to hit the treadmill.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
We'd like to say rest in peace to if this never makes it to the internet.
Yeah. No, I think that's, I mean, it is a much easier conversation to hire you to deliver that message than to have somebody internally delivering that message. And I think that's awesome.
And, HR approached us, and I look at blood stats like cholesterol, blood pressure. And so it is objective because I'm basing it off of data they've been given, But for instance, we had one gentleman there at the plant. We recommended intermittent fasting and hit, working out, high intensity training, 150 pounds lost in 1 year. So we're talking like, do you think the company's happy now? Mm-hmm. The company's ecstatic.
And the person who lost 150 pounds?
Is just raving about it,
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yep. And that's what I know you get your joy out of.
Absolutely. So I always feel like you always, at the end of the day, you want people to become excited about the changes they're having, about the changes the transformation you're helping enable in people. Mm-hmm. But not all people, you can lead a horse to water. You can't always make horses drink,
Yeah.
So, your job is to lead them to the water. Ultimately, if you don't want to drink, respectfully speaking, you just have to go next, though, and not to be pushy in a small town,
Mm-hmm.
So.
But I think Warren's really good at too, kind of seeing where people are at and meeting them there. So maybe somebody's not motivated to lose 150 pounds, but I think he's good at giving people them small goals.
Sure.
Like finding out where are you eating, what does your diet look like, and just cutting out, maybe we need to come out and do out, and giving them something they can do, and that even the little things make a big deal.
Yeah. One of the cool things that we started to do here is kind of transition and getting to know a little bit more about our guests on here, because we're finding that's what people want. That's what I want to see when I listen to podcasts, everything there. So we're going to ask you a few speed round items. First thing that comes to mind, you can elaborate on it if you want. You don't have to, but we'll ask both of you.
Okay.
So what's your favorite social media platform?
Ladies first.
Probably Facebook is the only one I'm on.
Perfect.
Okay.
I'm actually going to surprisingly say Twitter is growing, but just Twitter because I think the potential for lifetime communication and for it to get expressed, especially in the sporting world, is there. So I'm actually going to say Twitter because I think that one's going to grow a lot now,
Sure.
It's a good thing he's into social media.
Yeah. Not your bag.
It's
Not
that
my
balance.
thing.
It's that balance.
I still like the face-to-face.
Sure.
That's my thing.
Yep.
But
When you're alone in your car, what do you listen to?
Ooh, I just discovered Spotify because I was doing music for hockey games. Spotify's pretty cool. And so now I've been finding all these new artists, and that's been really fun.
So generally music.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a music person.
And I'm a health podcast, so Life by Design or Health by Design and like Life by Design. So usually it's like health related podcasts.
Sure.
And stuff that relate to health coaching. Sorry, kind of boring, but it truly does help. And then I like Tony Robbins on podcast. Mm-hmm. And if you can mute out his swear words, Gary V on podcast too. Gary knows the stuff. It just you can't play that with your 7-year-old in the car though.
Yeah. I made that mistake one time. Had to have that conversation. You don't say that. Don't say that.
I don't know why you go in the doghouse if you play that one. So
I know.
I feel like he tried to do a clean one, but I don't know if it ever took off.
Yeah. He has a censored YouTube version of that.
Okay.
So if you're ever, it's on the back and you want to listen to this in Gary V, he has a censored version of that.
Sure.
But
Okay.
so there.
And what I think people realize is Gary's been right on for predicting kind of future trends. People don't realize it, but like that guy, if he was a stock market predictor, he'd be the Warren Buffett of stock markets. So, so like what he's saying is gold. You just got to be willing to listen through the swear words.
Yep.
So,
and then take the advice.
Take the advice and have an action step.
Yep. Yeah. Changing gears a little bit. If you could only have one more meal for the rest of your life, not your last meal, but only one more meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
What's a good one? Do you have one?
I'll just keep it simple. Honestly, I just love pizza, so I would just do like pizza, like a Parmesan crusted pizza with just like a veggie pizza. I love pizza, So
Usually go with steak.
Nice.
Steak and potatoes.
I'm a little surprised you didn't say hot dogs. not really.
it would have to be a foot long fried onion hot dog, extra sauerkraut.
Yeah.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Android.
How does that work?
Yeah.
It covers both worlds.
Yep.
Yeah.
That balance.
Yeah.
Balance. If you had an all expense paid 2-week vacation to anywhere in the world, where would you go?
My gut reaction on that is a beach, but I'd probably go to Europe.
Okay.
Beach in Europe.
No.
I mean, I think a beach because where we are in
Right.
Minnesota here.
Yeah.
But probably Europe.
Okay. Kind of like backpack through Europe, or?
That'd be awesome.
Okay.
Go stay
Cool.
in some old castles and
Cool.
And I'm a strong Iceland, so went to Iceland once, and I just want to go back so bad because it's volcanic activity everywhere, hot springs everywhere. So you could like backpack it, you could run it, you could like rent a motorcycle and like see the country. Iceland is just to die for, especially like May through September.
Sure.
Like it's some scenes you don't see in the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So a strong Iceland answer.
Yeah. That's interesting. I'd never go to Iceland because Mighty Ducks is probably my favorite hockey movie, and I don't like those guys from Iceland. But anyway, that's kind of a
They
random thought.
might be Alaska, not Iceland.
Yeah. What's that?
Is Mighty Ducks, was that in Alaska by any chance? Or no, I take that
D2.
back. D2. Okay.
D2.
Sorry,
Yeah.
my bad. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's all right.
So if you had to describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be? I'm glad I'm perfect.
dependable. I don't have a favorite one. I gotta think about that.
And I would just
Loyal
go,
and dependable. I'm kind of like a dog.
I would probably just say, honestly, energy, intensity, and get her done.
It counts.
Like
counts.
one word.
It counts.
Yeah.
Eliminate that, right?
We met that guy in the elevator once in Florida, by the way. The guy that says "get her done" all the time. What was that guy's name? The guy.
Larry
the
the
cable
Cable.
guy.
Larry the Kid. We met him in an elevator in Florida. We were at a chiropractic seminar in Florida, and he actually got adjusted at the seminar. But then we were going up to room
okay.
afterwards, and he's actually in the elevator,
Sleeveless?
sleeveless.
Oh, yeah.
He golfed for the day, and the funniest thing was like he's cracking jokes in the elevator, and it just comes so
He's
natural to
super
him.
funny.
He's like really funny.
That's
But like,
pretty cool.
You're not even on the stage, and he's just as funny in the elevator as he is, So
Very cool. Very cool.
probably our best celebrity elevator experience, So they're the Kiva guy.
Do you have more?
Yeah, that was our next question.
Ryan Suter and Eric Stahl at a Wild game once.
Okay.
It was preseason, so they're in the elevator, and I'm nudging my 8-year-old, Sam, do you know who those guys are? Like, not a clue,
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to take a picture of them. So, when you're a hockey guy, that's like a dream come true to be in an
Sure.
elevator with 2 Wild players.
Yep.
So
For sure.
Cool. Pretty cool. Bouncing off on that. So, what's your hometown?
Selkirk, Manitoba. Yeah.
Okay. And is that near Winnipeg?
So it's like a commuting town like Buffalo outside Minneapolis. So it's like a half hour north of Winnipeg.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, are you a Jets fan or a Wild fan?
Fair
If they're playing
weather.
each other. If
Okay.
they're playing each other.
If they're playing each other, and if I take my kid to the game, I always like fake wrestling, like pro wrestling. I always like to choose who they're not choosing.
Okay.
So if my son's choosing the Wild, I wear a Jets jersey because he savors in that win that much more if I'm wearing the Jets jersey. I always think what makes fake wrestling good? There's bad guys and there's good guys.
Yeah.
So I have no problem being the bad guy to help a child have a better experience.
Yep.
Wow.
I'd say at heart, though, he's a Wild fan. I mean, he's not watching Jets games at night.
No.
Yeah.
At heart, a Wild, but I like to give the kids a hard time.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that story.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. You have any parting words for anybody watching or listening?
I do actually. I would just say I think one good life lesson this from health coaching is when you choose to become accountable, you increase the chances you will become happy in life. And by being accountable, just sticking to your goals, setting them, accomplishing them. And the happiest people I see aren't the richest. They're actually the ones that get their stuff done. So be accountable and you will become happy.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. Thanks, you guys.
So much fun.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of the Buffalo Community Podcast. We will see you in 2 weeks. All right.
You guys are recording every 2 weeks now?
Yeah. Yep. I'm going to push end here, which I know I shouldn't because we always usually talk for like 10 more minutes of like, man, that would have been
And it's way better than anything we've done on camera.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it always goes for all.